I have a question. So today is Tuesday, day in the life of a small business owner, and I'm starting off my day a little bit on the frustrated side. I'm frustrated because I purchased something, and I don't want to get into names or anything like that. I don't want to, that's not the point of this. But I purchased something, it didn't live up to the expectation of what was promised, and I wanted to return it and was told I can't return it. Now, I wasn't told I can't return it because of the coronavirus. That I would understand. I was told that I can't return it because they don't honor returns. It's just, I don't get it. So it got me thinking. There used to be a time in business where companies had core philosophies, or maybe they're called core values, or whatever it might be. A good example of that is a company that I both work for and have worked for, a company called Service Master Restore. Their core philosophies, the very first one was to honor God in all you do. And when they dropped that, their franchise owners were pretty upset about it. Now let me start off by saying that in some of what I talk about today, I'm going to reference Christianity. This isn't me trying to convert anybody or anything, or throw it in anybody's face. But some of people's faith and beliefs factor into their company, and so I just want to make note to that and just have everybody kind of be on the same page. So let's start off with what is a core philosophy. Let's try to define that for a second. I've gone ahead and looked up a definition online. This is yourdictionary.com, so take it with a grain of salt, but let's take a look at what it says. Core values are the fundamental beliefs of a person or organization. These guiding principles dictate behavior and can help people understand the difference between right and wrong. Core values also help companies determine if they are on the right path and fulfilling their goals by creating an unwavering guide. So that brought me to this question. Do you have core values for yourself or your company? Do you find it important? Do you find it an interesting topic? I really, truly want to know. Because I feel like with us getting away from this concept of having core values as business owners and as companies, it can really lead you down a path of not having a clear message to your customer base.
Yo, what do you say?
What are you saying, bro?
Yo, what do you say?
I went ahead and looked up online some different core values that companies have that already exist out there, and let's go over a few of them. So maybe one of your core values might be benevolence. Shell Oil donates millions of dollars. They donated millions of dollars to the University of Texas to improve student education to match employee charitable donations. So they give a ton of money away, which, let's face it, they can afford to, so why the heck not? Benevolence, that could be one of your core values. Simply doing good. Google, they believe in just doing good. That's one of their core values. Innovation, no duh here. Apple, other companies, Samsung probably has innovation as one of their core values as well. Sustainability, companies like Patagonia and Ben & Jerry's and other companies that care about the environment and want to make that a core value of theirs, to care about the environment. And then some other ones, just on a quick one: dependability, loyalty, honesty, and patriotism. These are all core values that companies have that can give you an example of what your company might care about. So what's GBD's core values, you might ask? I'm happy to give them to you right now. Now, again, I said this in the beginning, that Christianity or faith is going to come up, and this isn't to be this, like, I don't want to be coined as a Christian speaker. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind it, but when I say faith, I'm talking about Christianity. if you have faith as your core philosophy, it could be a million other things. But in my case, it happens to be my faith in on the Christianity side. But the reason why faith is a core value of my company is because I believe I'm being held accountable to a higher power. I want to make sure that I'm taking care of my customers in a way that I am not being cutthroat, dishonest, or angry. And this is one you have to watch out for. If you put faith down as one of your core company values and you do something cutthroat, it's going to come back on you. I know a guy who talks a lot about his faith. He's a business owner, and he does things in business that people consider to be cutthroat. And what happens is his credibility goes out the door. So you really want to be careful when you use faith as a core value, and you really want to think about every business decision you make, because you do something that is uncredible, it can really backfire in your face. So, a good example of that, I was talking to a friend who said he loves when somebody cuts him off, gives him the finger, and they have a fish, Jesus fish bumper sticker on the back of their car. Same thing can happen to you in business. So watch out when you use faith. But for me, I believe I'm being held accountable to something greater than I am, and that's why it is my first core philosophy. Second one was integrity. The reason I choose integrity is because I believe integrity to be one of the most important aspects in business. If you lose integrity in business, you may as well shut your business down. If people can't rely on your product, if they can't rely on your word, if they can't know that you have their back, then what's the point? The last one being service. I got the greatest compliment I could have possibly been given the other day. One of my customers said, "Kev, every time I call you, no matter what time of the day it is, you answer your phone." Now, that's good and bad. I love that, but my family does not, obviously. So I have to watch that out, but I have to watch out for that. But service is a core philosophy of mine. I truly believe that without service, companies can't exist. Companies that have proven this model are Chick-fil-A. They're the highest priced fast food item, and yet at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, there's a line outside of their building. You could get a cheaper, delicious fast food meal, delicious being one of those terms, but you get a cheaper, tasty fast food meal, but yet people go to Chick-fil-A because of that service model. It is lights out every single time. I've only been talking about so far how the outside message of your company is affected by having core values, but there's two areas that are essentially affected by core values, and I want to kind of talk about them quickly. The first one being the obvious one, customers. If you have no core values as a company, what do your customers hear? What kind of messaging are they hearing? If you're not focused on service, is service important to all of your employees? Probably not. In 1909, there was a gentleman named Harry Gordon Selfridge, and he was the owner of Selfridge department stores in London. He is the one who's coined with the phrase, "The customer is always right," which is a phrase that has been passed down for such a long time and has grown to become one of the most hated phrases to every employee that's ever walked this planet. One of his core values, has to be believed, was service, and that is clear in that messaging. I mean, imagine being an employee somewhere and the customer is always right is your motto, is one of your core philosophies. That comes down to service, and all of his employees would go on to then provide the highest level of service, because whatever the customer wants, the customer gets. Again, coming back to technology and using innovation and looking at Apple, Steve Jobs was so focused on innovating and coming up with the next great thing. I mean, do you guys remember? I mean, many of you will remember when the iPhone first came out. It was literally one of the craziest things. Zooming in on your phone onto a picture with a touch screen. It was so innovative. It truly changed the world. And Steve Jobs was that kind of a person. He was all about innovation. So all of the Apple fans, like myself, the fanboys out there, we absolutely love the Apple products because of the innovation of it. Samsung, though, same thing. And now you have companies like LG and so many other ones coming out with some great innovations. The second area that a core value is going to affect is going to be on your company culture or your corporate culture. Now, this is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but it's a really important aspect and factor of your company. If you're not taking into account what your company culture is and your corporate culture is, you might be losing employees and not knowing why. And a great example of that was an issue that Uber was having with sexual harassment. Uber was having a lot of complaints and reports on some of their female employees being sexually harassed. Now, a lot of the experts have brought that back to the company's core values, and they pointed out that their core values were vague. They had 14 core values. Too many core values, first of all. And some of them were vague terms like always be hustling. I get it. Cute, adorable, but what does that tell your employees and your customers and everything else? Your terms in your core values need to be obvious and clear. Like, for example, work hard. Hard work equals success. So here at Uber, we work hard. Always be hustling, similar message, not the same thing. Now, in the case of Uber, the way that they handled that situation is where things went awry. Let's take a look at what a couple of the investors said about the situation at Uber. So right here we have investors Mitch Caper and Frida Klein. They have come forward to voice their disapproval. We feel that we have hit a dead end in trying to influence the company quietly from the inside. They go on to critique the task force Gallagher formed to look into the sexual harassment allegations, and they said, "We are disappointed to see that Uber has selected a team of insiders to investigate the destructive culture and recommendations for change. To us, this decision is yet another example of Uber's continued unwillingness to be open, transparent, and direct." Now I want to point out, let's say instead of all these vague terms, Uber had a core company culture of protect our employees or employee development or something along those lines. Let's say that was one of their core company values. Well, then it would be clear to every employee that if they did something outside of the scope of what Uber felt was having integrity, that they were going to protect that employee who was harassed, and these other employees are going to be in a lot of trouble. This isn't all to pick on Uber. That's not what I'm trying to do. I actually love the Uber product. I use it quite a bit when I travel. But the point is that I want you to see how a core value can affect the people inside of a company center. So here's what I want to ask all of you. This point of this video, the reason why I made it, I want to know what your core values are. I want to know if you have them. Maybe it's just you as a business owner. Maybe you are your only employee. Whatever it might be, I want to know what are your core values as a business owner. And let's have a conversation. Comment below. Go up to Twitter. Hit me up. DM me on Twitter. I'm happy to talk with you on there. I respond like crazy to my social media and to YouTube. I love the environment. I love the community. So please do it. And while you're watching this video, go ahead and hit subscribe and like for me. This way it can help motivate me to keep going and keep making videos. I've been loving some of the emails I've been getting, guys. Thank you so much. Also, recent follow, Steve Vogel. Thank you so much for that subscribe. And otherwise, guys, I wish you the best. Remember, small business owners, be small, think big, let's go.